It's primary election day for 14 states across the country, including Alabama. We have lots coming for you tonight. I'm Sam Humphrey, and this is Eagle Eye on the primaries.
Of the last 50 polls that have been done nationally, I beat Trump 47 of those 50 times.
Tonight.
Progressive ideas are popular ideas, even if there are a lot of people on this stage who don't want to say so.
Americans across 14 states head to the polls to cast votes for their favorite candidates.
If we spend the next 4 months tearing our party apart, we're going to watch Donald Trump spend the next 4 years tearing our country apart.
Imagine spending the better part of 2020 with Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump. Think about what that will be like for this country.
I'm running for president to be the Democratic nominee that rebuilds our Democratic Party, takes it out of their hands, and truly puts it in the hands of the people of this country.
My entire career has been wrapped up in dealing with civil rights and civil liberties. I don't expect anything. I plan to earn the vote.
We are looking at a party that has decided that we're either going to support someone who's a democratic socialist or somebody who has a long history of being a Republican.
I know that if I were black, my success would have been a lot harder to achieve. That's just a fact, and we've got to do something about it than rather just demagogue about it.
Democratic candidates looking for the opportunity to face off against Donald Trump in November. And in Alabama, the race for Senate continues as Republican candidates seek votes to face Democratic Senator Doug Jones for one of 2 Alabama Senate seats. This is Eagle Eye's Eye on the Primaries. Now to Sam Humphrey at the news desk.
Tonight, over a third of the total delegates are at stake in the Democratic presidential primary, the biggest prize in California with over 400 total delegates. We'll also see Texas and North Carolina award over 100 delegates. And of course, we'll have all the details on Alabama's 52 delegates as well as the down-ballot Republican Senate race in Amendment 1. After tonight, the path for every candidate will become more clear, as frontrunners look to distance themselves and others look to gain momentum. Now let's look at the candidates running to be the Democratic Party's candidate for president. Still in the race are former Vice President Joe Biden, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, and Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. With a statewide election, there are many logistical concerns and factors the state must account for. For more on this, Eagle Eye's AJ Rivera speaks with Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill on the phone to find out what voters need to know for Super Tuesday. AJ?
So, for our viewers who are unaware, Mr. Secretary, could you please tell us what your role is in the primary election?
Well, as the Chief Elections Officer for the state of Alabama, it's our role to ensure that the elections are safe, secure, and that the results are accountable and transparent for all people that are involved. We want to ensure that we've made it easy to vote and hard to cheat.
I know there's been a lot of talk, especially in 2016, about Russian interference in our elections. What steps has Alabama taken to ensure that that doesn't happen here?
Well, the main thing that you need to know is that the Russian interference that has been referred to in the reports that have been introduced before has to do with social media, has to do with electronic introduction of influence. It does not have to do with the tabulation change or in allowing a vote to be changed for whom it was cast. That is not the case. It will never be the case, certainly not in Alabama. We have mechanisms and safeguards in place to prevent that from occurring.
What do Alabama voters need to know prior to this election?
Well, the main thing they need to know is that they have to be a registered voter. And if you have a question about whether or not you're a registered voter, it's too late to register for the March 3rd primary, but not for the March 31st runoff. And so what I would encourage folks to do is to visit our website at alabamavotes.gov or at Vote for Alabama on our mobile app to see what their status is. If they are registered to vote, but they're inactive, they can update their voter registration record and be active on election day, or they can do it in person at the polls. all you need to access the electronic registration record is a valid Alabama driver's license. Then we want each and every voter that goes to the polls to be an informed voter. So you need to download your sample ballot from our website at alabamavotes.gov, and you need to study the ballot, check on the candidates, see which candidate you want to support, see what issues are on the ballot that you're going to be voting on, and make sure that you've got your questions answered before you go to your polling site and one of the 2,499 polling sites in Alabama.
Where is it that voters can find out where their polling site is?
They can do that on the mobile app or at alabamavotes.gov. And if they don't have access to the internet, that information is also available by contacting your local probate office or local board of registrar's office, or in getting the poll list that was printed in the local newspaper in your county last week.
What is your expectation for voter turnout?
We think that we'll have somewhere between 1.1 and 1.3 million Alabamians go to the polls, and we anticipate that will be somewhere between 30 and 35% voter turnout.
Could you specify those expectations for the Republican primary versus the Democratic primary?
No, I think the Democratic turnout will be a little higher than it's been before, and the main reason for that is because there are a lot of presidential candidates that are still active, and a lot of presidential candidates that are trying to secure the votes of the Democratic faithful. So they are continuing to try to get people out to vote, and we expect that a number of folks will come out just to participate in the presidential primary.
I know you had mentioned earlier that the primary is March 3rd, but that there would be a runoff if needed on March 31st. Could you explain a little bit why or when there would be a runoff?
Yes. If a candidate fails to receive 50% of the vote plus one vote, then there will be a necessary runoff, because our law requires and our party rules require that the individuals that are the nominees receive 50% of the vote plus one vote.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. As part of the recently launched Together We Will initiative, Auburn Athletics is asking fans to show their support for the effort and purchase an official Auburn Unity t-shirt and wear it on Friday, October 9th, the day before Auburn's home football game versus Arkansas. The shirt can be pre-ordered for $19.95 through the AU Team Shop. Fans are encouraged to place their orders early. A portion of proceeds will go to the newly created Together We Will scholarship, created to support the university's effort to achieve a diverse enrollment of students while enhancing access, affordability, and academic quality. Supporters can also be made a financial distribution directly to the scholarship at auburnalabama.edu/giving-together.
The Auburn Alumni Association has launched a face mask initiative through which Auburn alumni and friends can purchase exclusive, limited edition Auburn face masks for personal use while also donating a mask to the underserved areas of Alabama. In partnership with the Alabama Cooperative Extension System, the Auburn Alumni Association will donate a mask to the area of greatest need in the state of Alabama for every mask that is sold through its mask initiative. To learn more about the program or to order masks, visit aub.ie/Auburn Alumni Mask. Do you want to go into sports production but don't know what to major in? Well, this fall, the School of Communication and Journalism in Auburn's College of Liberal Arts launched a sports production track within the journalism major, the first of its kind in the Southeastern Conference. The school originally began offering sports production elective courses in 2014 when it created a partnership with Auburn Athletics and War Eagle Productions. Since then, War Eagle Productions has delivered more than 350 live events per year, ranging from the Jumbotron in Jordan-Hare Stadium to ESPN and SEC Network productions. A degree in sports production is geared towards students who love collegiate and professional sports and want to be a part of the production teams who deliver live sporting events to the world's homes and mobile devices.
The City of Auburn regulates all signatures within Auburn city limits, and they have a few reminders for the upcoming 2020 election season. They ask that the political signs only be placed out within 30 days before the election. The upcoming election date is November 3rd, which means that signs must be placed out beginning October 4th. Signs should also be no more than 32 square feet. All signs must be on private property and cannot be placed on city rights-of-ways, utility poles, or traffic signs. In most neighborhoods, the right-of-way is typically between the water meter and the roads. Signs placed in this right-of-way will be removed. Signs for all candidates must be removed within 7 days of the election. For more info, you can contact the Inspection Service Department at 334-501-3170 or webcodes at auburnalabama.org. Kenneth Reith, a freshman in the College of Agriculture at Auburn, made history this year by becoming the first black president of Alabama 4-H. Alabama 4-H is the stateside branch of America's largest youth development organization, with a community of more than 100 public universities providing educational and leadership experience. And his second year as state ambassador for Alabama, Reese ran for the statewide office of Alabama 4-H president and competed for the position with a presentation about the organization's endless opportunity. After securing the role of 2019-2020 president, he learned that he was both the first black state ambassador and president in Alabama 4-H. When we come back, is each pet of the week cuter than the last? And also, a man died from eating too much candy? We'll be right back.
Good evening. My name is Mary Lee Oliver, and I'm joined by Larkin Carden, and tonight we'll have coverage from Auburn basketball in their 2 conference games this past week. Baseball and softball lighting up the diamond, and gymnastics welcoming in a top 10 team to Auburn Arena.
All that and more tonight on Sports Night in Auburn.
After suffering their first loss of the season at the hands of the in-state rival Alabama Crimson Tide, Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers welcomed them into Auburn Arena for a showdown on Auburn's home court. Eagle Eye was there to bring you the story.
The Auburn Tigers look for revenge tonight against Alabama as the Crimson Tide won their first matchup at Tuscaloosa. It was the Anthony McLemore show in the first half as he would put up Auburn's first 6 points, ultimately leading to a 60-0 run in just 4.5 minutes. With Auburn up 16-4, Alabama's James Bolden hits a 3-point jumper to get the Tide rolling. Tide teammates Alex Reese and Jalen Forbes also hit a pair of threes with just under 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half to get the Tide within 3. With 37 seconds left in the first half, Auburn senior Samir Daddy made a layup to close the half with a 44-41 Auburn lead. Coming out of half, Alabama kept the pressure on as Jaden Shackelford drained a 3 to tie it up. Alabama had the upper hand from outside, knocking down 22 three-pointers, a new SEC record. However, Auburn dominated the defensive board as Austin Wiley had 9 defensive rebounds, 17 in total. Standout freshman Isaac Okoro went down late in the second half with a right hamstring injury. Although Auburn kept their lead all 40 minutes, Alabama tied the game up with a crucial 3 by John Petty Jr. To open up overtime, Samir Dowdy would score the first 6 points, and with the help of Jamon McCormick's free throws, Auburn stays undefeated at home with a final of 95-91. With the win tonight, Auburn improves to 22-2. Their next matchup will be against Missouri Tigers this Saturday at 5 o'clock. Reporting live from Auburn Arena, I'm Mackenzie Collins from Eagle Eye TV.
Men's basketball traveled to Columbia, Missouri to take on the Missouri Tigers.
Auburn traveled without standout freshman Isaac Okoro in the 85-73 loss, and it showed as the team could not replace Okoro's scoring. Austin Wiley tried and scored 22 points, the second most in his Auburn career. Missouri, a pair of 28-point scorers in Drew Smith and Xavier Pinson, and combined for 17 of 26 from the field, an outstanding 65%.
This game also included Bruce Pearl getting a technical foul and Devin Cambridge being ejected. Auburn's next game is on the road on February 19th against the Georgia Bulldogs, who will be seeking revenge after an 82-60 drubbing back on January 20th. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. Central Time, and you can watch the game on ESPN2.
Welcome to this week's episode of Eye on the Tigers. I'm Delaney Barrow, joined by Andy Hewling. Before we get too much into Auburn football versus Arkansas, let's talk soccer. The past 2 weeks, Auburn soccer's games have been postponed, causing them to miss a match versus Texas A&M first and last week against LSU. The Tigers were set to play Ole Miss at home this Sunday, but due to SEC COVID protocols, the game has been pushed back to Tuesday. Andy, how do you think yet another setback is going to affect the Tigers' performance on Tuesday?
Well, they've been sitting here now for 2 weeks looking to play a match, and they haven't had it yet. But hopefully Tuesday they're able to get back out on the field at home against Ole Miss and compete. And I have to say, you know, if I were a player, I would definitely be feeling the effects of not playing, because you've played one match but then had to wait 2 weeks. And you know, practicing helps, and like doing drills and keeping the repetition going, but that game readiness is always going to go away when you're not playing as much. So I think Auburn will struggle a little bit, but hopefully for them they're able to find their form and get back to action.
I agree. I have no doubt there will be some struggles. It's only going to be their second game since their first at home, September 18th, and that's a long period without any real competition. I'm sure they've practiced and scrimmaged, but there's really no experience like a real game. And we've talked in past weeks about how young the team is, and I think that this is going to be really hard on them, but I also think it's going to prove how Auburn will play the rest of their season. If they're able to bounce back from a couple of weeks off, I think it's a good testament for the rest of their season's performance, especially because the pandemic is ongoing, and there's no telling that this could happen again later down the road, and they could miss another 1 or 2 games, and it'd be really unfortunate. But how Auburn bounces back from this occurrence is really going to show a lot for the rest of the team. And on the topic of Ole Miss, they played really aggressive in last week's match, but they ended up losing to Mississippi State. And they took a lot of shots on goal, but I don't think that'll be an issue for the Tigers, as they do have a very talented young goalkeeper in Prohaska. And I think that I'm looking forward to them bouncing back. I have no doubt that there will be some errors, but I don't think it'll be anything too major. And I think that Coach Karen Hoppe has prepared the team well, and I think it's going to be a good match here on the Plains. Now for football. Auburn will be hosting Arkansas in their second home game of the season and 3rd overall. Last week, they lost by a decent amount at UGA, and their ranking dropped from 7 to 13. And Georgia's defense last week really came to play. How do you think that Georgia's shutting down Auburn last week is reflective of how Auburn is going to play this week?
Well, Auburn's offense was very vulnerable in Athens. They just were really one-dimensional through the air. The running game had no potency with Georgia's defensive line just dominating the line of scrimmage. I think Auburn's defense also did not cover the wide receivers very well. Stetson Bennett was able to throw for over 200 yards and really had a field day against Auburn's secondary. And even George Pickens got in on the act and got a touchdown grab. I just think overall it was a bad game. I don't think it's representative of who they are as a team. We know this team is talented, but injuries, setbacks, the running game, the offense not coming through is not going to get you a win in a game like that when it mattered. And Auburn, ultimately, it was just a bad day at the office on last Saturday. But this week they have a chance to improve and get better against Arkansas, who's coming in riding high.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brendan McLaughlin, and this is your Eagle Eye Sports Update. Last night, for the first time ever, there was a basketball court at Toomer's Corner for the first annual Tip-Off at Toomer's event. Hundreds turned out to watch the men's and women's basketball teams compete in a three-point contest, skills challenge, three-point shootout, and a dunk contest to finish it out. These events got the fans excited for what's to come for Auburn basketball this season. Auburn football continues their month away from the comforts of Jordan-Hare as the Tigers travel to Fayetteville to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks for another in-conference battle. Look for Bo Nix and the rest of the Auburn offense to bounce back against an Arkansas defense that is coming off a rough outing against Kentucky. Kickoff is slated for 11 a.m. and will be seen on SEC Network. Thanks for tuning in to your Eagle Eye Sports Update. Follow us on Twitter at EETV_sports, Instagram at Eagle Eye TV, and check out our website, eagleeyetv.com. I'm Brendan McLaughlin for Eagle Eye TV.
Today is the day. The state of Alabama has been waiting for this day since the Zeros hit the clock last year. That's right, it's the Iron Bowl. Auburn takes on the 5th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide here on the Plains at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Coming off a tough loss to Georgia in a rebuilding game against Samford, Auburn is looking to regain rhythm with freshman quarterback Bo Nix and the criticized offense. While the Auburn offense has been unable to click for the past few games, the story has been the relentless defense. Auburn's defense continues to play lights out under defensive coordinator Kevin Steele.
Steele joined the Auburn coaching staff before the 2016 season and has given the Tigers some of the most explosive defensive players the program has ever seen. The big guys for the Tigers, Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson, share 6 SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week honors. They had a combined 11 tackles and 2 for a loss 2 weeks ago against Georgia. With the Auburn defense in full, Steele has a tough coaching matchup with Alabama head coach Nick Saban and offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian. Sarkisian joined the Alabama coaching staff just before the beginning of this season. With the season-ending injury to Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa last week against Mississippi State, the Auburn defense will face off with second-string quarterback Mac Jones. Jones played well in his time as the starter coming in during the season, especially in games like Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. His season stats aren't bad for a backup. He's playing well in the offense, but it seems that this offense is set up to the point where he can succeed, and that credit goes to Steve Sarkisian in his second year on Coach Saban's staff, with his first being in 2016 serving as the quarterback coach, analyst, and offensive coordinator in the national championship game after the departure of Lane Kiffin with quarterback Jalen Hurts. With that being said, here's how I see this game playing out. I think Auburn's defense will be able to shut down inexperienced Jones. Although he is inexperienced, Alabama's receivers have been explosive this season, so the Auburn defense will need to focus on midfield pass coverage. With Alabama missing a few key starters on the defensive end, I believe Boobie Whitlow and Anthony Schwartz will be able to have a big game running the ball. With that being said, Nix and his receivers will have to regain chemistry and be able to connect for passes over the middle. I think Alabama will come out strong and score first, but the Auburn defense will be able to shut them down with a final score of Auburn 24, Alabama 21. That's my prediction for this year's Iron Bowl. My name is Mary Lee Oliver with Eagle Eye TV. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Mary Lee. And now we're actually going to go back into the studio as Hayden Desmond sits with Harrison Tarr of the Plainsmen, who was just on. They're going to give their take on the game as well as their predictions for the Iron.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Hayden Desmond, joined by my good friend Harrison Tarr from the Plainsmen across the hall, and we are going to talk Iron Bowl. Harrison, straight up, let's jump into it. What do you think?
Well, thanks for having me on, first off. I appreciate it. So I jumped right into the Iron Bowl. I'm going to give you the number right.
All right.
That's all right. First off, let's be an Alabama, and they like them a lot. 65.6% chance to win this game, according to the FPI. The spread has Bama at a 3-point favorite, so the over-under line is also 49. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Probably take the under today.
Take the under?
It's going to be a lot lower scoring than you think. Do you want to jump into the impact players, or do you want to touch on that a little bit first?
I'm going to touch on that a little bit. Obviously, if we're going to talk about the numbers, I'm going to take the over. I like both of these offenses to score a lot of points, but I will say, like he said, it's not going to be as high scoring as you think. Bama's scoring 60 points a game. Is LSU, if you really want to compare. Not as video game-like, especially with Mac Jones in there at quarterback, but I think this Auburn defense is the best in the country. The players will tell you that too. So I see Alabama scoring, but just not scoring as much. Give me your impact players.
Welcome back to the feud on Eagle Eye TV. The Circle currently holds a lead over Weagle, but that might change here in a minute. This round is worth double. Give me Hunter, give me Breland. Let's go. All right, last question. Don't be nervous. What is a freshman dorm room must-have?
Ramen noodles.
Ramen noodles. I don't think ramen noodles is on the board, Auburn Circle.
I'm going to say a laundry basket.
Laundry basket is also not on the board. So we're going to go right here. Bryn?
I'm going to say a blanket.
A blanket is not on the board. Cecilia, what is a freshman dorm room must-have? 5.
No way.
Lysol is on the board. All right, Chloe. What is a freshman dorm room must-have?
Mini fridge.
Mini fridge. Mini fridge, number one answer. All right, Greer. What is a freshman dorm room must-have?
Microwave.
Microwave. Number 2 on the board. Right. 3 answers are off. No strikes. So you got some room to work with. What is a freshman dorm room must-have?
TV.
TV. TV number 3. 2 answers left, no strikes. What is a freshman dorm room must-have?
I'm going to say a PlayStation.
A PlayStation. PlayStation is not up there, but I'm right there with you. I had one in mind.
Auburn Arena has become one of the most enjoyable places to watch basketball, and it's because of these guys right here, the Auburn Jungle, and they are bringing the energy day in and day out. And today, we talked to the Auburn fans early about their experiences in the Jungle and what Bruce Pearl has done for the program.
I mean, the Jungle just means everything about Auburn and what this Auburn spirit is. I mean, you see all these guys showing up and maybe or maybe not missing class, and they're going to get in early and just go crazy throughout the whole game.
Basketball in Auburn has not always been this way. There were no lines, shakers, free shirts, or even a top 25 team. But the arrival of Bruce Pearl has changed the whole mood of the student body.
The Jungle is everything. I mean, you can have a tough week at class, a tough week in life, and, Auburn men's basketball is playing in the Jungle. And it's like all your pain, all your misery, all your frustration, it goes away because you're rooting for the best team in all of college basketball, the Auburn Tigers. And the Jungle helps you bring that out of you.
Jungle means everything to me as an Auburn student. I love coming out here on the hardwood every home game, getting out here super early and being part of the loudest and craziest fans in the country. I mean, last week at LSU, when we went to overtime, the floorboards were literally shaking, and the Jungle is really important for getting the whole arena up on its feet. And when Auburn Arena is up on its feet, it's one of the loudest arenas in the country.
Pearl continues to reach out to the students by giving them food in line like he did for the Georgia game in the Tigers' first SEC home opener. His energy and passion for the program has created a new culture for Auburn basketball.
Bruce is one of the most personable coaches that I've ever seen. I mean, he loves the students, and the fact that he engages with the student body and also goes out and recruits very well, it just helps build one of the best, college basketball programs in the country.
I think he connects with the fans more. Previous coaches haven't really made an effort to go to classes and maybe get people involved in the basketball side of Auburn. But I think Bruce has done a good job of rallying the students to his side.
Some students go to almost ridiculous lengths to get a spot for the game in the student section as they sit for hours on end in the line. Call it dedication or pure insanity, most of them will tell you that it's worth it.
Up at 3 a.m. for the LSU game last weekend.
3:30.
That is insane.
And I will keep on doing it. I will keep doing it for Bruce. I'll run through a brick wall for Bruce because, Bruce just gets you fired up.
Oh, yeah. Earliest I've ever shown up to the game had to be a little before 5 a.m. for the Kentucky game a few weeks ago.
The Kentucky game, because that was a late kick, that was a late tip-off, and I showed up at about 6:30 in the morning for that game.
Whether it's in the line or inside Auburn Arena, these fans are showing the nation that they are one of the best in the country. Reporting from Auburn Arena, I'm Andy Hewling, Eagle Eye TV.
Showers and thunderstorms didn't stop these voters from voting this Super Tuesday. Cars swarmed into the Boken Community Center, filled with eager voters this president primary season. Holding a Doug Cannon sign in front of the center, Ricky Smallridge expressed to Eagle Eye TV how his choice candidate will make a difference in the Lee County area.
So I'm here to endorse my friend Doug Cannon. He and I have been friends for a long time, and he's running for Lee County Commissioner, District 1. And anyway, he's been a home builder for years around here, and he knows a lot of people out in the community and gets out in the community, and he's the kind of guy that won't sit behind a desk. He likes to get out and he'll be with the people and trying to help them all he can.
Joanne Dow shared with Eagle Eye TV why Joe Biden is her choice for candidate.
I think Joe Biden will get our country back to where it was. It's divided right now, so that's why I voted for him, because I think he would be the right person to be in the White House. He's a decent person, and that's why I voted for him.
Nadine Payne expressed why she voted and urged those in the community to vote as well.
I voted because we are in crucial times and everything is so messed up in the White House, so we do need to vote. So anybody that's at home laying in the bed or whatever you're doing, please get up and come and vote. We had so many our ancestors who fight for this right to vote. So I think all the people of color need to vote. So please come out to the Boken Center or wherever you are signed up to vote. Come out and vote today.
This has been Lainey Mayfield reporting for Eagle Eye TV.